God said it's starting. And the world didn't believe it. They shrugged, they yawned, they scrolled through their feeds like it was just another forgettable moment, just another meaningless whisper floating somewhere above their ordinary routines. But the sky didn't speak for nothing. The ground didn't shake for theatrics. When the divine declares a beginning, it is not a suggestion. It is a command. A shift. A tearing open of everything that once felt predictable. And if you stand still, if you hesitate, if you doubt, if you wait for someone to drag you into your own destiny, you will be left behind with the echoes of what could have been. People heard the call yet froze as if time owed them a second chance. But the truth is merciless. Time does not owe you anything. Life does not owe you anything. God certainly doesn't owe you repetitions of opportunities you wasted because you preferred comfort over calling. The starting point was announced, but the world preferred excuses over action. They wanted miracles without movement, results without effort, blessings without backbone. And that's why the divine warning came not as a gentle whisper of encouragement, but as a thunderous declaration: stand still and be left behind. This isn't about religion. This is about awakening. This is about understanding that every single moment in your existence is pointing you toward a direction, and if you refuse to walk, you will be replaced by someone who ran. The universe is brutal like that. God's timing waits for no one. You can cry, complain, procrastinate, fantasize, but the moment you freeze, the flow moves past you. You become a spectator in the story that was meant for your hands to write. Every destiny has a deadline, and you feel that pressure right now, don't you? That burning inside your chest. That sensation that something massive, something unstoppable, something beyond human logic is unfolding? That's not anxiety. That's not confusion. That's the signal. The initiation. The spiritual ignition switch flipping into motion. A divine countdown ripping through the invisible corridors of your future. But here's the truth most people choke on: only movers survive the shift, the ones who hesitate get swallowed by their own fear. They get buried beneath the weight of maybe tomorrow and maybe one day until nothing remains except regret. And regret is the longest agony known to the soul. You were not designed to freeze. You were not created to pause your own potential. You were not made to live like you're waiting for permission that already exists inside you. God said it's starting, not tomorrow, not when you're ready, not when the circumstances become convenient, not when other people finally clap for you or validate you. It's starting now, and if you choose to stand still, if you choose fear, laziness, distraction, excuses, then understand this clearly: you will be left behind, not by God, not by fate, but by your own refusal to move. Life is not obligated to drag you forward. Destiny is an invitation, not a guarantee. People talk about wanting a breakthrough, a transformation, a new chapter. They cry out for change but cling to the same habits that keep them chained. They want divine acceleration while living at the speed of complacency. They want supernatural elevation while refusing to lift themselves off the ground. The truth: you cannot receive what you are unwilling to pursue. You cannot rise while anchored to the version of yourself that fears change. You cannot claim greatness while walking in circles around your comfort zone. When God says it's starting, He means everything: the tests, the battles, the blessings, the opportunities, the responsibility, the consequences, the rewards. Every part of your destiny activates at once. And the ones who are awake, truly awake, feel that surge. They don't need confirmation. They don't need applause. They don't need a manual. They hear the call and move with urgency, intensity, and purpose. They move even when it's dark. They move even when they feel unprepared. They move even when no one believes in them, because the universe respects motion, because God empowers momentum, because stillness during a divine shift is the fastest path to irrelevance. This is the moment where the strong rise without hesitation. The moment where the silent become unstoppable. The moment where the hidden break out of obscurity. The moment where the doubted prove the world wrong. This is the moment where you face the truth of who you are, not who you pretend to be, not who others think you are, but the raw, unfiltered, unrestrained version of you that has been waiting behind layers of fear and excuses. And if you stand still during this moment, your life will never forgive you. Look around. People are sleepwalking through their own futures. They want purpose but choose procrastination. They want growth but avoid discomfort. They want power but fear responsibility. They want greatness but cling to mediocrity like it's a security blanket. They want a divine beginning but live like they're afraid to cross the starting line. But not you. Not if you feel this message pulse inside you. Not if these words hit you like truth disguised as fire. Because that means something in you is waking up. Something in you is shaking off the dust of delay. Something in you is realizing that standing still is more dangerous than failing. Something in you knows that the moment you move, everything around you shifts to make room for your rise. People talk about waiting for God. But sometimes God is waiting for you. Waiting for you to take one step so He can open the next door. Waiting for you to act so He can multiply the results. Waiting for you to stop shrinking so He can show you what you were truly built for. Waiting for you to stop hesitating so He can unleash the version of you that terrifies your fears and awakens your potential. The starting point is here, right now, as you read this, as your pulse rises, as your spirit stirs, as the fire inside you refuses to stay quiet. You think this message found you by accident, you think this intensity is random, you think this timing is coincidence. No. This is your announcement, your divine alert, your initiation, your awakening. God said it's starting. That means the doors that were locked are now cracking open, but you have to push. The opportunities that seem distant are now within reach, but you have to stretch. The strength you thought you lost is now regenerating, but you have to use it. The path that once looked impossible is now unfolding, but you have to walk it. This is not the season to hesitate. This is not the season to negotiate with your own fear. This is not the season to stay quiet, stay small, or stay stagnant. This is the season to rise with aggression, confidence, and unstoppable forward force. You don't need perfection. You need momentum. You don't need approval. You need courage. You don't need clarity for the whole journey. You need faith for the first step, because God doesn't start anything that He won't finish, but He will not finish what you refuse to begin. You have been waiting for a sign. This is the sign. This is the moment where hesitation dies and action is born. Where doubt dissolves and determination takes over, where fear shrinks and fire expands. Move, rise, go, now. Because if you stand still, if you freeze, if you pause, if you hesitate, you will watch others step into the life you were meant to live. You will watch others carry the blessings you were destined for. You will watch others succeed in the places where you should have dominated. And that pain cuts deeper than failure. That pain lasts longer than fear. That pain becomes a shadow that follows you forever, not because God left you behind, but because you left yourself behind. God said it's starting. Start with Him. Start with courage. Start with the version of you that refuses to die quietly. Start with the fire inside you that knows you were meant for more. Start with the step that scares you the most, because that's the step that transforms you. And once you move, once you commit, once you stop standing still, you'll notice something incredible. Life starts moving with you. Doors open faster. People appear at the right time. Opportunities multiply. Strength grows. Confidence sharpens. Paths reveal themselves. Battles become stepping stones. Setbacks become setups. Delays become lessons. Pain becomes fuel. Purpose becomes unavoidable. That is what happens when you move at the moment God says, it's starting. And there will come a day, soon, sooner than you expect, when you look back at this exact moment. This exact message, this exact awakening, and realize this was the turning point. The spark. The ignition. The moment your entire life shifted its axis, not because you were lucky, not because someone saved you, not because circumstances magically changed, but because you moved. You refused to stand still. You refused to freeze. You refused to be left behind. This is the beginning, your rise, your era. Your unapologetic transformation, and it all starts with this truth. God said it's starting, and nothing can stop what's meant for you, unless you do. And now you stand in front of the invisible line that separates who you were from who you were destined to become. This is the threshold every warrior faces, every giant crosses, every chosen one reaches before they rise. It's that moment where the air feels heavier, the silence feels louder, and your heart beats like it's trying to break out of your chest, because it knows, oh, it knows, that everything you've been shown, everything you've been pushed toward, everything that's burned inside you is no longer a concept or a dream. It's real now. It's here now. It's happening now, but listen carefully. The final test always comes right before the breakthrough. This is where people crumble. They get tired, they get scared, they get overwhelmed, they start doubting the very path they once felt called to walk. They feel the pressure and think it's a sign to quit, not understanding that pressure is a divine signature. That tension in your spirit? That's not a warning, it's confirmation. That resistance you feel? That's not failure, it's friction that prepares you for acceleration. That fear whispering in the back of your mind? That's not truth, it's the last scream of your old self fighting to survive. But you're done with that version of you, you're done with hesitation, you're done with softness, you're done with shrinking, you're done with standing still. Because standing still now would be spiritual suicide. It would be betrayal against your own purpose. It would be the biggest lie you ever told yourself, pretending you're powerless when every storm that hit you was shaping you into the force you are right now. You didn't survive just to stay silent. You didn't endure just to retreat. You didn't rise this far just to freeze now. No, you were built for this threshold. You were trained for this war. You were sharpened for this season. What's starting is bigger than the world around you. It's a shift inside you. A rebirth. A seismic rewrite of everything you ever believed possible. And when God initiates that kind of beginning, it shakes everything that cannot stay in your destiny. People fall off, distractions collapse, comfort burns, fears surface, old identities crack. It feels chaotic, but it's really alignment. It feels violent, but it's really preparation. It feels lonely, but it's really elevation. When God starts something in your life, He clears the path by force, even if you don't understand it yet. And soon, very soon, you'll understand why things didn't work before, why people walked away, why doors shut, why you felt stuck. It wasn't denial. It was protection. It was timing. It was calibration. It was the setup for the exact moment you're standing in right now, because when the divine says, "Move," the future rearranges itself to make way for you, and now the responsibility is yours, the fire is yours, the choice is yours. You can move with the momentum of destiny, or you can freeze under the weight of your own fear. But remember this truth until the last breath in your lungs: if you stand still in a divine season of movement, you will be left behind, not because you were unworthy, but because you were unwilling. And nothing in this world is more tragic than potential abandon at the doorway of breakthrough. Not you, not this time, not this season, not this calling. You are not going to watch your life from the sidelines. You are not going to miss the moment. You are not going to let hesitation steal what heaven released. You're going to move. You're going to rise. You're going to step forward even if your hands shake and your voice trembles and your mind screams with doubt, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is movement despite fear, and once you take that step, once you shift from hesitation to action, the world will feel it, the atmosphere will shift, the path will open, the blessing will accelerate, the momentum will explode, the enemies will scatter, the past will lose its grip, the chains will break, the waiting will end, the promise will materialize. This is your crossing point, the moment that decides the rest of your life. The moment that separates watchers from warriors, the moment destined souls dream about. God said it's starting, not lightly, not softly, not politely. He said it with force, with finality, with fire. This is the beginning of everything you prayed for, fought for, cried for, bled for. Now move. Move like your future is screaming your name. Move like everything you lost is about to return multiplied. Move like heaven is pushing behind you and destiny is pulling ahead of you. Move like you refuse to be left behind by your own potential, because this is your moment, your rise, your unleashing, your birth into the life that was always meant for you. Stand still and you lose it. Move and you claim it. Hesitate and you'll regret it. Step forward and you'll rewrite your entire existence. God said it's starting, and this time, you're not watching, you're not waiting, you're not freezing, you're going, you're rising, you're becoming unstoppable.